Hello, and welcome to this bonus episode of the Blender Business Show. I'm your host, producer Jemmy, but not for today. This week, I'm turning the reins over to my son, Jordon, to be my guest host. I'm so excited as this is his first foray into hosting a podcast. And he is a 13-year-old comic book buff. So while on our last episode, you got to meet comic book writer Paul Eza and hear our conversation about common content creation pain points, I thought it'd be a fun treat to have a bonus conversation with Paul, led by Jordon, to discuss the comics he writes, how he's navigating the comic biz, and about comic history and culture in general. So if you missed episode 9, then after you're done listening to this bonus episode, rewind back and catch my conversation with Paul titled Common Content Creation Pain Points with Paul Eza from Acorn Comics. On that episode, I asked and answered, how do you realistically maintain your content creation as a busy business owner? But right now, sit back, relax, and enjoy this bonus conversation with my son, Jordon, interviewing comic book writer Paul Eza of Acorn Comics.
Hello there.
Hey, what's up, Jordon?
Hello. So, Mr. Paul Eza, I have questions because I love comics. Comics are my favorite thing in the whole wide world. I will put my life on the line. I will go save a cat from a burning building for comics. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world.
That's going a little far. I mean, I'd save a cat from a burning building just because it's a cat. But
no, it's not. That's not the important part. The important part is that it's for comic books. You think about it, it makes sense. So, I am a big fan of the medium, and I think that the ins and outs of it are very intricate and interesting. So, I read Heroes and Zeros for the first time today. And I do have to, because I didn't buy a copy, so I stole my mom's. I mean, I borrowed my mom's. So
they're meant to be shared.
Yeah. So explain to me, what is Heroes and Zeros? What is this comic book that I'm holding in my hands right now?
All right. So Heroes and Zeros is the very first comic book I ever wrote. Mm-hmm. This was the one that when I decided I want to do this, I want to write comic books. This is the first story I developed and started typing out. It is the kind of log line for it is X-Men meets Scooby-Doo in the future.
Yeah.
And so that's and I think now you've read it, you probably can see some of those elements. Like you've got, people have evolved to develop superpowers, except now most people have superpowers.
Yeah.
The Zeros from the title are the ones who are in this future that don't have any powers. Yeah. And so then we get into the Scooby-Doo element, which is that it is a murder mystery focused on 3 Zeros who are trying to solve the murder of the most powerful man in the world.
Yeah. And the most powerful man in the world, I could tell. He reminded me, and I just noticed this a lot in modern superhero media. Whenever like a new hero is made and they have to be like the trope of the strongest, they always kind of default to Superman. And it's not like a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I love Superman. So I'm never complaining.
You're right. And there was at the very beginning when we're learning about the kind of the history of this world.
Yeah.
And Allison mentions the first, like the legendary very first superhero is basically that, he can fly, he's strong. There's only but so many powers. And let's face it, that's a pretty cool combination that Superman's got.
I mean, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I do wonder, though, how long have you liked superheroes for? Like, how many years? Like, since childhood, forever?
My entire life, as far as I know. When I was little, I would read comics with my dad. Mm-hmm. And those would be, or I should say my dad would read the comics to me, even long past the point where I could have read them myself because it was just, it was a thing that we did together.
Yeah.
And we would read Superman, we would read Batman, we would read Justice League. Those were sort of the regular 3 titles that we would follow. But that was also, and your mom will know this, so you may or may not, because I'm talking about a really old TV show. Mm. When I was little, there was a TV show of The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw one episode of that.
Yeah, like the real old school, like early 80s.
Have you ever heard of the Spider-Man show from the 70s?
Oh, yes, I have.
The lenses looked like drain covers.
Oh, yeah. It was, I mean, when I was a kid, I loved it. I haven't seen it in a long time, but
I mean, like, it has its charm. It has its charm.
yes.
But I do wonder, though, since you've loved superheroes since, like, forever, who's been your favorite?
It probably was the Hulk.
Yeah.
And that was,
That's a pretty good
again,
choice.
that was 5-year-old Paul wanted to be the Hulk. And that was
Yeah.
from that TV show. I've stuck with him ever since. And in fact, the Hulk is what got me sort of back into comics when I got older.
Mhm.
A Hulk graphic novel that was called Future Imperfect.
Mhm.
And that was written by two of my biggest influences now. I mean, at that point, it was just like, oh, this looks like something cool to read. But it was written by Peter David.
Oh, yeah. I've seen the ads in books recently. Didn't he pass away recently?
He did, yeah. And then it was illustrated by George Perez.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. I've heard of him.
Yes.
I think I've seen a variant cover or two of his in the comic book story.
I'm sure you haven't. And look, if you haven't, when we're done with this, I'll show you some stuff.
Yeah, I recognize that name, though. I might have seen that. So, there's a big difference between favorite and best. What characters and elements inspired, in particular, Heroes and Zeros?
So that is heavily inspired by sort of the X-Men world.
Mhm.
In a lot of ways, partially from just the history. And, you take the history of the X-Men where the legend is that people have started to evolve to have these powers. And it's just a natural course of human evolution.
Mhm.
So I kind of took that idea and said, okay, well, if that's the course of evolution that we're going through right now, what happens? What does the world look like in 500 years?
Mhm.
How has it changed? 500 years. I don't put a specific, that's sort of in my head. It's somewhere between 500 and 1,000 years in the future.
Mhm.
And if that evolution continues, then eventually people with powers are going to be the majority, right?
Yeah.
So if they're the majority, what's that world going to look like? You're not going to have like superhero teams anymore
Yeah.
because everyone's like that.
Everyone's going to be like that. Yeah. It's creative. It's really creative.
Yeah. So that's sort of where I developed that world of, everyone sort of has a job that coincides with whatever their ability is,
Mhm.
which makes it really hard for those people who don't have abilities.
Mm. So this is the book that, for those of you who are listening and you're not aware, or watching, you're viewing, depending on what your preference is. Anyways, this is the book that I got from him. He was at Famous Faces and Funnies 2, our local comic book store, and he was letting people buy. This is the one that I bought. And so could you please now tell us about the Olympian a little bit, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Olympian, this is a much more personal story. This is one I pulled many more elements from my life. It's not like a self-insert by any means,
Mhm.
but one of the things that kind of sparked my desire to write this one, and this is weird sometimes how brains work and how the creative process can work. I don't recommend anybody try and follow my particular creative process.
What did you do?
It's just the way my brain jumps from one thing to another sometimes. Long time ago, my wife, her name is Constance, and she had just mentioned casually when we were first dating that, when she was a kid and she'd go to like tourist locations and things like that, it was super rare for her to ever see like a magnet or a mug or something with her name on it. Like,
Mhm.
when you go into those places and they've got keychains and mugs with all the different names.
I've never seen my name on it. My name is spelled Jordon,
And
but
right,
it's Jordon.
Right.
And so
right.
I never see my name on anything.
And so she had that too. And then we were having our son, and we knew we were going to name him Vasilis.
Mhm.
We were naming him after his grandfathers. So her father's name is Vasilis. My father's name is John. Those are his first two names.
Mhm.
And I also knew that he was going to have that exact same problem of going into all these tourist places and never seeing his name anywhere except on his like schoolwork.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I've kind of got this idea bumping around for a comic book. Why not name him after my son?
Yeah.
So I took that. So his name's going to be Vasilis, and the last name Meyer is actually a family name on my side. It's my great grandmother's name. And so I was like, okay, so we're going to do sort of similar to what our family is, where he's half Greek descent and then half not Greek, bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And, the town I grew up in, this town in New Hampshire called Keene, had a really surprisingly large Greek population for being such a small town.
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? Most superhero comics, it's set in the big city. It's this, it's that. You never see a superhero that just kind of comes up in this little town up in New England.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be kind of a cool place to set it. And you get a different dynamic because you get small town dynamics and everybody knows everybody and it's real hard to keep a secret.
Mhm.
And so I thought that could be a really cool angle on it. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things in that book that I know you've probably never been to Keene, New Hampshire, but there's a lot of things in
Yeah.
the book that people from Keene would recognize. So I dropped in a lot of the little Easter eggs from that standpoint. It actually is the town. Did you ever see the original Jumanji movie?
Yes, I love that movie.
All
I
right,
love that movie. It's so
that's
good.
Keene. That was Keene, the town where all the animals were
Oh.
stampeding through town
Yeah,
square.
yeah.
That was Keene.
The more you know, the
yeah,
more you know. I did not know that
exactly.
until 2 seconds ago.
Exactly. So there's that was where my senior year in high school they filmed it. So I was actually
Oh,
there when they did that.
that's interesting.
It was fun, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how and then you get into the Greek thing, the Greek mythology, tie it in. How are we going to make him have this adventure, and where's it going to go from there? And that's kind of how it happened.
So the first thing that I noticed, because that's just how comic books are with the front cover, first thing that you're going to see of the book is the front cover. So when I first walked in the comic book store that day, I was drawn in because I was like, holy crap, this inking is so good. And the stylizer, look at like the artist in me was drooling. And that for both Heroes and Zeros and the Olympian. So I must ask you, because I wonder how this works for indie comics. How do you find artists for your independent books?
Oh God, I've been so lucky. I've been so lucky on the art. So we'll start with the Olympian because that was the one that you were just fawning over,
Yeah.
appropriately so.
Yes.
And the artist on that, D Fish, is a friend I've known for years.
Mhm.
And so she's somebody that again, she's known my wife since they were since before I knew my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was one of the first people I met after when we first got together. And so Dee has been, just prolific and done so much great work in comics, in comic strips, puts out her own stuff. She writes, she draws, she does it all.
Yeah.
And she helped me out a lot with Heroes and Zeros. So she actually designed the company logo, the Acorn Comics logo.
Oh, really?
And when I was doing just kind of putting the files together for the printer, trying to get Heroes and Zeros together, I was having some trouble getting the cover elements to all look just right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I need a pro. And I reached out to Dee and she gladly helped me. And she did one of the variant covers as well.
Mm-hmm.
She also did the Scooby-Doo homage variant cover.
Oh, yeah.
Heroes and Zeros.
So really quickly, so
Yeah.
you could get back to what you were already saying, because it just now popped in my head. I'm such a bad interviewer.
Oh, they're good. Go for it.
Acorn Comics. Could you please tell us what this is very, very quickly, so that you could get back to what you were saying before I so rudely interrupted you? I am so sorry.
We nicknamed when my wife was pregnant. We didn't want to tell anybody our son's name, even though we had decided on it. So he just kind of got the nickname of our little acorn.
It's so adorable. So adorable.
That's where Acorn Comics came from.
Okay, so back to what you were saying about the artist. Yeah.
I've always loved her work. And when I was trying to think of who I knew that would kind of capture the style I was looking for the Olympian, she came to mind immediately, reached out to her, sent her the script, and she agreed to do it. And I'm just incredibly lucky that she said yes, because she's perfect for it. And she just absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Mm-hmm. So Acorn Comics, this idea behind what Acorn really was, you were telling me a little bit about it when I asked you about Image.
Before we get to that, now I'm going to be the bad one.
Oh, okay.
Because
That's
you
fine.
asked about both comics, and I can't shout out Dee and not gush over Casey's art in
that would be very,
Heroes and
very,
Zeros.
very rude.
That would be very rude, and I'm not going to be rude. And
this page in particular really impressed me. That
just
one.
on the very first page.
Yeah, the very first page in particular. I was like,
No,
that's a good opener. That's a good opener.
Casey was a different story. I had no idea who Casey was. He didn't know me.
Mhm.
And I basically found him through social media.
Mhm.
And a lot of artists will do something a couple times a year called Portfolio Day, where they basically just come up and hashtag Portfolio Day and just share their artwork and say, "Hi, I'm a illustrator, I'm an inker, I'm a letterer, I'm whatever, I'm a colorist, whatever. Here's some samples of my work."
Mhm.
And when I decided I was looking for somebody to do Heroes and Zeros with me, I just started looking for artists through Portfolio Day.
Mhm.
And Casey was one of, I think, the last the top 3 or 4 where I was looking at. I was like, man, he's dynamic. He's a great visual storyteller, and visual storytelling is much more important than technical proficiency.
Oh yeah,
I think
of
he's
course.
also very technically proficient, but I look for storytelling first.
Mhm.
And everything he had out there was great as far as storytelling. You could look at the panels, look at the pages, and you could have a pretty good idea of what was going on in the story even without the words.
Mhm.
And that's really important in the medium of comics, I think. So I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, I'm looking for somebody to." At first, it was just do some character designs, see what this is, and it was a little bit of a test, and say, "Okay, I want to see number one, what you come up with, how you envision these characters that I've written, and number two, do we work well together?
Mhm.
How's the communication?" And everything clicked. And like I said, I'm really, really fortunate that he said yes,
Yeah.
because he's been a dream to work with, an absolutely fantastic partner in this project. And like I say, we're almost done with issue 2.
Yeah.
And getting ready to put that out into the world soon.
Mhm.
Hi there, it's producer Jemmy breaking in with a quick message. First of all, thanks for listening to this bonus episode. Secondly, if you are a business owner, marketing manager, or content creator, join in the conversation with other Blender members on our Slack channel, which you can find the link for, along with everything else, at blenderbizshow.com. And please be sure to subscribe and give us that 5-star review on your favorite podcast player. It's such a small task, but it really helps us out. Now, back to the conversation about comics with Jordon and Paul.
So, I go to an art school, and the little artist in me is just itching for this. I watched this YouTube video where C.B. Cebulski actually explained how an issue of Ultimate Spider-Man at the time was being made in, like, 2004?
Sure.
And
Yes.
I was mesmerized by the script because it looks so similar to a movie script. So, do you know what treatment is on when a movie's being made?
I know nothing about how to make movies.
So, treatment is just basically the planning of what the script itself is going to be. So, I gotta wonder, is there a similar sort of treatment-like process for making a script for a comic book?
So I think everybody's process is a little bit different.
Mhm.
Now, so when I was doing it, again, I didn't know how to format a script. So I went out and looked for examples. Gail Simone has several out there you can look at of how she does it. And, even talking to some people, like some letterers gave me some advice of, hey, make sure you put the actual dialogue underneath the name of the character, not on the same line. It just makes it a whole lot easier to copy and paste it over before you format it. So simple things like that. Now, as far as the structure of the script, I think what you may be getting then, now there are different methods of doing it.
Mhm.
Now you'll hear a lot about the Marvel method,
Oh,
which is the traditional Marvel method where,
yeah, that tortured Steve Ditko.
well, and that's
the poor guy.
right. And so where you'll do the basic plot and put the plot out there, have the artist do the art, and then do the dialogue afterward to fit with the art.
Mhm.
And I get why certain people, and again, going back to George Perez,
Mhm.
he didn't want to work any other way because he felt like he wasn't doing his part of the job if the writer was telling him what each panel was supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So and there are people that prefer that way, but for me, like, I didn't want an artist, especially an artist I didn't particularly know,
Mm-hmm.
to think I was trying to, pawn off all the hard work on them. So the way I do it, I do more the DC style, which is full script, panel by panel. This is what I'm thinking. But I also tell the artists, think of it as a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got a better idea to move us from point A to point D, you got free reign. Do it. And then afterwards, especially because, when you're doing it as an indie, you don't have like an editor in chief you're reporting to, or you don't have an editor that's looking over it saying, giving you notes. It's more collaborative just between the artist and the writer.
Yeah.
But most of the time, if I get art from Casey or if I get art from D and they've made changes, I look at it, I look at the script, I'm like, nah, you did it better than what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So I'll adjust the dialogue if I need to. That's no big deal.
Yeah.
Every now and again, I was like, I might say like, hey, can we try it maybe the way I wrote it? Or maybe I see what they did and it sparks a different idea that I think might be even better.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, oh, how about if we do it like that? And that's sort of the back and forth and the collaboration that really makes the comics great in the end.
Yeah. So the way that you talk about how great the medium is, I have to wonder, well, what's the most important part to you of reading a comic? What's the thing in a comic book that you are looking for that determines how much you're going to enjoy it? Because for me, I like seeing how the artist is able to create something out of very simple point A to point D and seeing B and C get developed and this collaboration. It's always interesting. But what to you is the biggest thing about a comic book?
I don't know if there is one bit, like as a reader, I don't know if there's one specific thing, because I'll tell you, like, there have been comics where I've really loved the story, but maybe
the art was just meh.
Maybe the art was meh, yeah. Or I honestly, and this is weird to say, I think meh lettering takes me out of it more than meh artwork.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
The lettering is so important to it. And again, like going back to mine, like I'm so lucky to have the letters I've worked with on those two projects, because they're fantastic and they get it. They get what they're supposed to be doing and they understand the books and what they need. But sometimes I can look at a comic and the artwork is phenomenal, the overall story is phenomenal, and the dialogue is meh.
Mm-hmm.
But I can still enjoy the different elements of it, like.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's an art piece.
Well, right. And at the end of the day, it's about art. It's about the visual storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about the story.
Yeah.
So however that story gets communicated, and it is a mishmash of all those things, of the visual art and the words and how the words are put on the paper, visually. And I love all of it, and I can be forgiving of all of it if the rest of it works,
Mm-hmm. So when we talk about comic runs, I see a lot of the time in online spaces, and it always kind of frustrates me a little. So please, no one debate about any of this. We're just two people talking about comics. People will oftentimes fight. I don't know why so many people oftentimes fight over like what the best run for a certain character is. So of course your favorite character is the Hulk. So what is your favorite? Best and favorite are two different things. What's your favorite Hulk run?
Okay, my absolute favorite Hulk run was that Future Imperfect story that I was mentioning earlier. And again, this is an older one. I think it came out late 80s, if I'm not mistaken. But
around the time when like comics are going through a pretty big creative shift.
It was
because everyone wanted to be Watchmen.
Well, to a certain extent, but George never did. Like, George was unapologetically a comic book creator.
Yeah.
And I think Peter was the same way. And actually some of the thing that got me to, that kind of led me to that series, was Peter David had written some Incredible Hulk novels.
Mm-hmm.
And I had read those because I'm like, I love the Hulk character. Why not read this?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was looking for more of his work, and I found Future Imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
And that story, it introduces what to me is one of my favorite villain in the Marvel universe, and one of the most underutilized villains, I think, which is the Maestro. And I know they brought him back a little bit recently, and even his own limited series for a while. But the Maestro, if you're not familiar, is the Hulk in the future.
Oh, interesting.
And you learn that the Hulk is basically immortal because of his his gamma powers. He has the same healing factor as like Wolverine or any of those guys.
Oh.
And so he just constantly heals and heals and heals. And eventually, after decades and decades and maybe even centuries of humanity hunting him, and at a point where he's merged his intellect from Banner with his Hulk body.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not only big and strong, he's also
I think I know what you're talking
super
about
intelligent.
now.
He basically got tired of being hunted and said, I'm smarter than all of you. I'm stronger than all of you. I'm your ruler now.
Dang.
And he kind of snapped.
Imagine if that was Smart Hulk in Endgame.
Well, right. But that's Smart Hulk is the beginning of that transition.
Yeah.
And so that storyline is basically somebody from this future where he's become this despot,
Mm-hmm.
finds one of Dr. Doom's old time travel devices and comes back to the past to bring the good Hulk to the future because he's the only one who can beat himself.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah. So one of my, I think I might as well just say that it's my favorite. It's the Bendis and Bagley run on Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Chef's kiss. Because some of the first comics I ever read was like the old Lee and Ditko stuff from the 60s.
Yeah.
From like the Mighty Marvel Masterworks.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was first reading it for the first time, by mind, like it blew me to see with how perfectly they were able to take that old stuff and be like, we're just going to take this and then we're just going to make it completely different, you know?
Yeah. So that's the thing. You can't go wrong with the classics.
But the modern stuff is always so interesting.
It's evolved. It's evolved so much over the years because back then, I think they did believe they were writing for children mostly.
Yeah.
And you could sort of see that in some of the writing.
Yeah, like how characters were always explaining what they were doing in panels.
Right. It was targeted more towards a younger audience. And there are still plenty of comics that are targeted for and appropriate for a younger audience.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, we've now learned that this is not a medium that has to only cater to that. And that's why things have evolved. And you have, to me, some of the best stories being told are in comics.
Yeah. Because, like, I seriously don't know why 9-year-old me thought it would be a good idea to read Kraven's Last Hunt. I don't know why 9-year-old me thought that would be. I mean, I liked it.
9-year-old me was reading Stephen King, so don't be too hard on yourself, you know?
So, I think that the thing that makes the comics medium so special, and in my opinion, the greatest medium of entertainment ever, is this collaboration. It's an assembly line, right? I have a writer, penciler, inker, colorist, and beyond, you know? It's collaboration, right?
And everybody adds their own perspective on it.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I love this. We'll have to talk more about comics, whether it's on screen or not. I'm always happy to talk comics. So, you should probably promote yourself and your social media if you could do that for me, please. Absolutely. Find Acorn Comics. We're on Threads. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. And, of course, we have Heroes and Zeros issue 2 is coming to Kickstarter on October 7th. So you can sign up for the pre-launch at hzcomic.com. Wow, that's very nice. Yeah. And if you want to find me, you will probably see me often talking about comic books on my TikTok. I'm the Nerd Lab Spidey. I like to call my room my Nerd Lab. So I am the Nerd Lab Spidey. You can find me
on the Nerd Lab Spidey at TikTok, just typically talking about Spider-Man because he is the GOAT. And yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciated you being here.
No, thank you for having me, Jordon. This was great.
Yeah, I really appreciated you. We definitely learned a lot here. Please, 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 please. I'm begging you. I'm gonna have a heart failure if you don't read the comic. I'm gonna have a heart failure, and I'm gonna be so sad. So please, if my guilt tripping has worked, do it. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Listen to Jordon, people. Listen to Jordon.
Yeah. So I'm gonna dip now. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
All right, now I have to do the part where I get my mom. Hold on. Because I'm not allowed to press the red button.
Way to go, Jordon. His first time as a podcast host is officially in the bag. I hope you enjoyed this bonus episode guest hosted by my son, Jordon, and featuring my last guest, Paul Eza of Acorn Comics. Just a quick housekeeping note, Jordon's handle on TikTok is now Jordon Productions. That's Jordon spelled Jordon Productions. Or you can also look him up there as the Nerd Lab Spinner. But everything will be in the show notes, so maybe you don't need to think about anything. Just go to the show notes. And as mentioned at the top of the episode, if you missed episode 9, then be sure to rewind back and catch my conversation with Paul titled Common Content Creation Pain Points with Paul Eza from Acorn Comics. I asked, and Paul helped me to answer the question, how do you realistically maintain your content creation as a busy business owner? So you don't want to miss it. This week's bonus episode was brought to you by Flintstone Media, my podcast production house and consultancy firm with additional support from Marbleism. You can get more details and show notes about today's show, connect with our featured guest, and join us on social media also by going to blenderbizshow.com. See you next week on the Blender Business Show. We are the Blender community where business and media mix. And one more time, way to go, Jordon.